Hello everyone and welcome to the video. I'm just going to jump right into things because you came here for information, not for me. I will really quickly tell you that I have been playing ESO since 2014. I remember when the hide hat option was in the settings. I'm that old school, so I do kind of know what I'm talking about here. Since about 2017 or 2018, I have taken every one of my characters on a Hajj to the Obsidian Gorge to level them up. It's a very chill and easy rotation to grind. Say goodbye forever to the Alik'r Dolmen grind, okay? So, you might be thinking, what is the Obsidian Gorge? Well, the Obsidian Gorge is a little way shrine in Morrowind, specifically in the zone called Deshaan, and it's located right here. The rotation involves killing 3 groups of zombies and Kagudi hordes over and over and over again in essentially an endless loop. The part about this place that's really nice is that it's very straightforward. What you do is you aggro each enemy in one of the 3 parts of the gorge to converge on a specific place, and then you obliterate them with AoE damage. You net yourself a large chunk of XP, you can loot the corpses and sell the stuff later for gold, and then you move on to the next group. By the time you return to the first group you killed, all of the enemies that were there will have respawned, allowing the cycle to continue. The zombies drop fishing bait, and the Kagudi drop their leather, which scales to whichever type of armor level your character should be equipped with, and they drop their hides, which you can sell for gold. You'll also find zone sets alongside actual gold on the corpses and alchemy reagents for poisons, which are also leveled to your character's expected usage. Because the gorge is so small, too, you have an almost 100% uptime of when you're gaining XP. So this loop is absolutely perfect, in my opinion. By the way, if you like this video, I do have a guild in ESO that I'm trying to build called the Garden of Dareloth. It's basically just meant to be a hangout spot for subscribers to the channel and a place for people to help out one another. You can join the Discord for more information in the pinned comment below. Okay, anyway. There are also 2 chests that can spawn at the Obsidian Gorge on this path, which could potentially give you really nice drops. And there is a nearby dolmen, which you can run over to if you're interested in getting zone jewelry or a boost to your Fighters Guild skill bar. Speaking of Fighters Guild experience, since a majority of the enemies you're fighting at the Gorge are undead, you do net a significant bonus to Fighters Guild XP for just grinding there. Now, I've been talking this place up quite a bit, but as far as negatives go, this place is not for every type of character. It's definitely much easier for a DPS character to grind at the Gorge than it is for a tank or a healer type of class. With that said, this is easily remedied by just finding a group. Although this place is fairly unpopular, there are people who are in the know about it, and they're typically willing to group up with you, which I'll show an example of later on in this video. Now, is the Obsidian Gorge going to give you as much XP as, say, the Skyreach Catacombs in Craglorn? No way. However, it's much easier, it's fairly user-friendly, it's really easy to go to, and it gives great loot and XP in the process. Plus, you can do this whole thing solo given the right builds. However, the main place that I always see people gassing up for character grinding is the Alik'r Desert Dolmen Loop, which I mentioned earlier. Now, while the Alik'r Desert is relatively straightforward as well, it's way slower compared to the Gorge, and there's so much downtime in between the XP you're gathering due to constant traveling between locations, especially for low-leveled characters who have low speed on their mounts, or may not even have a mount at all. And I've been telling myself that the Gorge is faster than the Alik'r for years now, but I've never really had any proof. So, because I was making this video, I decided to finally go out and test my theory. So I made 2 different characters. I made one called Obsidia Gorge, and I made the other one called Anchor Baby. And both were going to test out which method of leveling was superior. Obviously, Obsidia Gorge was going to go to the Obsidian Gorge, and Anchor Baby was going to be farming dark anchors in the Alik'r Desert. So I made Obsidia a necromancer since they have good AoEs, and I started to make my way over to Deshaan. About a quarter of the way through Stonefalls, I just decided to ask somebody in chat if they could take me to Deshaan instead, and sure enough, within seconds, I had a kind soul named Toku Gawanaka reply to me, and they took me straight to Mournhold. Toku Gawanaka, if you ever watch this video, thank you for your sacrifice. From there, it was a small walk away. I set a 30-minute timer, and I got to grinding at the Gorge as soon as I got there. Immediately, I saw that there was another group of people already there. After killing my first group with them, they invited me to join, and from there on out, the 3 of us went around killing the hordes of enemies as a group and gathering our XP. At level 6, your character is gifted with a one-time use scroll that gives them 50% XP for 2 hours, so I popped it almost immediately upon getting it, and I continued on the grind. It's important to note that any gear with the training trait will also boost your experience gained from killing enemies, so if you find any, you should definitely wear it, or better yet, if you have a crafter, or if you know a crafter, get some low-level training gear for yourself, if you have that skill available. Anyway, I just plugged away at this, and at around the 23-minute mark, I had already hit level 10, which opens up the dungeon finder. And at this point I thought, what the hell, why not queue for a dungeon? So the reason I did this is because doing one random daily dungeon gives you tons of experience points, and I had my 50% experience scroll on me as well. Before queuing for a dungeon, I swapped my destruction staff out for a shield, and I tried to get the ability Puncture, which is a taunt, and then I queued as a tank for my dungeon. I did this because it's the least popular role, and I knew I would immediately find a dungeon if I was tanking. So I got into Banished Cells 1 within seconds of queuing, and we finished it just slightly after my 30 minutes was over. The experience from the random dungeon boosted me all the way to level 13, and then the XP from finishing the dungeon quest boosted me to level 14, all within about half an hour. Thank you, Obsidian Gorge. Now, unfortunately, we have to talk about Alik'r Baby. I made him a Templar, and I kind of constructed him to look like a Dollar General version of Vivek, because I just thought it was funny, and then I went off on my adventure to make it to the desert. I just took a few boat rides instead of getting a player to take me there to prove Alik'r Baby's independence, and in no time I'd made it to the desert. If you type X followed by Y and then Z into the Alik'r zone chat, it's like a code that people just know that you're trying to grind for XP. Within a few seconds, I was invited to a group. I traveled to the person who invited me to the group to get to the first Dark Alik'r, and then I proceeded to do that 2 more times to unlock all of the way shrines. I followed this group around from dolmen to dolmen, but it was just so boring, honestly. I was extremely bored. In fact, I was so bored that just typing this made me yawn. Seriously, I don't have footage of it, but I was dead tired writing this. On top of that, I was barely getting any XP per kill. At level 6, I immediately used my XP scroll on Alik'r Baby to be consistent with Obsidia Gorge, but things were not looking good in their contest. There's really not much to tell from after that. After about 30 minutes, I was only level 8, which is 6 whole levels beneath what's possible in the same time through using the Gorge. Also, because I never hit level 10, I wasn't able to queue for a dungeon either, severely cutting off my potential levels. I would say that the Alik'r is good for leveling Fighters Guild XP, and good if you're looking for jewelry, or if you just have a character that literally cannot fight on their own. But otherwise, I would recommend using the Obsidian Gorge every time. Oh, also, I executed Alik'r Baby. It felt like the humane thing to do. Rest in peace. And with that out of the way, I would like to give a shout out to all of my channel members who put up with me releasing stuff like this that literally no one asked for in between my larger lore videos on the channel. Special thanks to Drad, Abby Normal, Golo, Tarks9, Mr. J, Corey McCuney, Marcus Strangle, Faust Lament, The Chosen J, Melendrome, Hannah the Hermit, Thin White Duke, Alexis Price, Ranger McKay, Breezy Stratton, Jake A.S., Soulless Saint, TJ, username here, Peace, Skooma Addict, Ophelia Drowning, Ruin Cod, Wet Noodle, Naji aka Tracy, Jug, B Wolf, Aaron Dobbs, Dishonored Pro 3500, Ken P. Lamont Diamenti, OOP, Zhong Gina, Joel Evers, Debash, and Inherent Manex. Thank you guys so much for your support, it really means a lot. If anyone watching the video right now would like to join the member program, there is always a link in the description of every single one of my videos that will lead you to a video explaining the benefits. I have been Dareloth. If you guys want to leave any questions, comments, or concerns down below, I will definitely make sure to read them because I'm pretty certain this video is not going to get that many views, so I should be able to keep up with the comments fairly well on this one. But yeah, this is meant to be a beginner guide, and I hope that you learned something. Peace out, and I'll see you in the next one.